medal game in any sport, but particularly basketball, right? You're talking about some of the most famous players on the planet when it comes to NBA players like Kevin Durant. And there's maybe 1,000 people, not even, maybe 800 people in the stands, and those are officials, other athletes in other sports, part of the USA entourage or the France entourage as far as staff and coaches and everybody that can possibly come up with an excuse to get a credential. That's it. That's all who's there. So, like, you win the goal, and there's not this giant cheer and this crowd yelling USA or banner waving or families in the stands crying. It almost reminded me of in the pandemic when the LHSAA played the high school basketball state championships on your home court with no fans, where teams are dogpiling on the court and there's nobody there to cheer them on.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. You made that point several times on Sports Illustrated, on Sports Illustrated Radio, and it's true. I mean, we're going to talk about the baseball in a minute, but the crowd not making it all the sports. So even the sports maybe you don't like, it had an impact, I believe.
And as you pointed out, impact on the quote-unquote favorite or the team expected to win, the person expected to do well. There was just a lot of impact there, and it was unfortunate they had to do that. I mean, I was watching the baseball this morning, Ronnie, and I'm even thinking, maybe they shouldn't have had these Olympics because it looked like a game I played at SLU. There had like 72 people in the stands, and that's counting a couple of them twice.
Right.
So, it was disappointing. And Japan wins their first gold medal in baseball at home, as they say, in Tokyo.
And the nation's not there cheering. USA loses 2-0 in softball and baseball to Japan in the gold medal game. Congratulations to the Japanese. They just absolutely shut down this bigger, stronger. I mean, if you watched the softball, right, and you saw the USA softball players versus the Japanese softball players, you saw a physical size difference. The same in baseball. Made no difference.
Right, and I'm glad you brought that up because I was thinking this morning, I watched the last 5 minutes of the baseball game. I think everybody on Japan's roster was 5'9", 180.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was
5'9", 180. I mean, it was crazy. And the other thing that really jumped out to me, I recognized like 2 or 3 names on the USA team that and I'm a baseball guy. Not that I would recognize every name, but I might recognize a few more than some people. But I'm just thinking, if they sent the major leaguers over there, this would be a 10-run rule every time. They just couldn't hit the ball today. There's a couple of pitches from Japan, Ronnie, split finger fastball. Made me think, did you ever throw a split finger fastball?
I tried a little bit.
Well, you had the big hands. You had big hands to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I messed around a little bit with it, but I did not. Had a hard enough time controlling the fastball away to try to mess with that. But it's funny. When I was in my freshman year in college, I played in the summer with the Anchorage Glacier Pilots in the Alaskan League, which, at the time you had basically the Cape Cod, you had the Alaskan League, and you had the Jayhawk League. Those are the big 3 leagues. The Jayhawk League, of course, in the middle of the country. But and I played for the Glacier Pilots where Russ Springer and Ben McDonald had played for them. Mark McGuire had played for them. This was on the heels of kind of them just a couple years removed. And we took on the Taiwan national team. The Taiwan national team came through the States and did a tour and played a bunch of teams and made their way. And they started off in Alaska. And we actually beat them. And we had a pretty good team. We had a bunch of some guys that made the big leagues. But the thing that surprised me, Tommy, was before the game, and traditionally before a baseball game, if you go at any level, right, college or pro, what do you see? You see batting practice for both teams. You'll see some teams, taking ground balls and stuff like that, while BP's going on. If you get there before batting practice, well, then after batting practice, you might see infield, outfield, right? They might drag the field. Both teams take a little in and out. And then before BP, maybe you see a pitcher field in practice, whatever, right? That's the traditional. A little early work, a little batting practice, a little infield, outfield, ball game. And the only guy who is throwing a bullpen is a starting pitcher who, okay, I'm not throwing for a couple days. It's been a few days since I threw. I'm throwing my bullpen in between starts. You might see 1 or 2 of those, right, for each team. the thing I noticed about when we played Taiwan, and I know it's the same way with Japan and a lot of the the Asian country teams and how they train, because I've seen it pursed up in Arizona, because they come over and train in Arizona just like the big leagues do before their season, which they train in like January and the major leaguers come in February. Something like that. Well, like all their pitchers throw. Like they have bullpens for like everybody. Then the guy who started for Taiwan against us, he went, let's say, 5 or 6 innings, and eventually they replaced him. He went immediately down to the bullpen and kept throwing some more. I mean, he probably between game, warm-up pitches in the bullpen, warm-up pitches on the field, game ball, 5, 6 innings worth of pitching on the field, and then went back down to the bullpen and threw another couple innings. I mean, he probably had a 250 pitch count, and that's not an exaggeration. That's just the way. So because of that, what happens, Tommy, is they don't throw real hard traditionally. I mean, there's always exceptions, and that was 30 years ago. And granted, now those guys throw a lot harder than
How many
they did.
years ago?
30.
Okay.
30.
You to let that sink into your
It's unbelievable. 30 this summer. The story is 30 years old.
3 decades.
That's just so stupid. But anyway, so 30 years ago, I mean, you'd think it's like, but that said, they had all the other things, right? They might not have had the velocity. They didn't have the size, but they had the split. They had 6 pitches, where United States, traditionally, a guy has fastball, curveball, changeup, fastball, slider, changeup, fastball, curve, slider. If you have more than 3 pitches, you're probably lying, for the most part.
You're not throwing them all.
Right. Skip used to tell people, if you can't throw your breaking ball for strikes 50% of the time or more, then it's not a real pitch. If you can't throw a fastball for 65% of the time for strikes or more, it's not a real pitch. And because if it's less than that, if it's less than 50% strikes, the other team's just it's not going to swing, and they know they're going to walk. But these guys in Japan now and Taiwan then, they just have all the split, curve, backdoor curve, a hard curve, a slow curve, a change, a knuckle change, they just have a bunch. It's almost like they play around. And I guess when you throw a bullpen every day and you throw as much as they do, you got to keep yourself amused.
Well, they got a lot of people too. One guy gets hurt, they get another one. A lot of people over there. But one other thing, I cannot stomach Eduardo. He is the worst amount of the history. And he was doing the game this morning. But anyway.
Why are you not an Eduardo Perez fan?
He's a sensation. He's called, a guy stole a base today, and they tagged him out. And, and they reviewed it and called him out after calling him. Saying he's talking about what a great throw it was and a great job. Everything was great to him. I'm thinking, oh, come on. The guy was out. It was a one-hop throw. I just don't like Eduardo Perez. I cringe when he's doing the College World Series games. It just... I think he thinks everybody's there to listen to him.
Eduardo Perez, by the way.
And back to these guys are doing 89, 90 miles. That's the other thing Perez is doing this morning. That's 144 kilometers. Well, tell me what 144 kilometers is. I'm watching in the USA, and I'm too old to try to figure that out, and I ain't looking it up. So tell me what it is. And then finally, every now and then, you go, okay, well, that would equal out to 90.5 miles per hour, because he had a chart in front of him. So anyway, but aside from that, everybody was 5'9", 180. And, if you have arm care that allows you to throw 250 pitches like that guy that you saw in Alaska, man, that's fine. Back in the day, Nolan Ryan, these guys all threw, 200 and something innings every year. Now they don't want to do it because they might get hurt. It's all about how you care for your arm. And proper arm care can be a big, big difference. And some guys just don't get sore arms. Some guys don't throw hard enough to get sore arms. And by the way, you played 30 years ago. I played 40 years ago, so I got to be careful.
And actually, my freshman year, it's 40 plus. I get to use freshman summer.
Mine, yeah.
By the way, Sports Church Radio presented by LeBear's Casino. A lot of great stuff coming up at LeBear's Casino this fall. Concerts on galore. Go download their app, LeBear's Baton Rouge app on your phone. Go by the Sundry store as well. If you're over there in the hotel on the second level as you're making your way to the casino, you can buy tickets there in person as well. A lot of good stuff going on. Better Than Ezra will be in concert there this fall.
Marshall Tucker Band.
Marshall Tucker Band. You got, I know the Mollies and Bag of Donuts, they're playing together on the 20th of August. Or it's either Molly's and Bag or Chewy's and Bag. I know Bag's there with either the Molly's or the Chewy's. Aren't they all the same? But they're all excellent. That'll be on the 20th. I know Parish County Line will be playing there this fall. By the way, PCL in action tonight at Happy's, and we'll have PCL. If you don't want to pay, come up to Natchitoches to celebrate the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. Parish County Line will be performing on the riverbank with fireworks and free interactive stuff for the kids. That'll be on Friday, August the 28th. Live music from 6 to 10:30. Fireworks at 9:15. PCL will take the stage around 8:30.
You said Better Than Ezra?
Yeah.
You know, a great story how they got their name. You ever heard it?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. This is legendary, epic, okay? There was a band contest. I think Murphy's like the LSU.
Right.
Anyway, there was a band contest.
You could go sign up your band and you could play a couple songs and your people would clap when they were trying to find a good band. Well, the guy, I forget his name, that Better Than Ezra, he walked up and said, I want to sign up my band. He said, we want to play Saturday night. And they go, what's the name of your band? He goes, we don't have one. They go, is anybody else signed up for this thing? They go, yeah, some band called Ezra. He said, put us down as Better Than Ezra. Boom, end of story. He said, put us down as Better Than Ezra. And Ezra's never been heard from since.
All right, we'll take a break. It's Tommy Price and Ronnie Rantz over here at Calandros Supermarket in the back. Those 2 locations to serve
80 years. Nobody does it better than Calandros. We're over here at Perkins and Siegen. You got your parties this weekend. You're going to have your family cookouts, your swim time. This is it before school starts. Come on up here to Calandros Supermarket, Perkins and Siegen. Say hello and get all your supplies.
There's like 200 cases of wine.
And that's just in front of you here in the lobby.
Just what I can
You should
see
see
in the
over in the
lobby, yeah.
wine section. We'll be back with more sports shorts from Calandros right after this. What's up, Nookie? What's up, Casey? How you doing? Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Shorts Radio presented by LeBear's Casino over here at Calandros Supermarket in Baton Rouge. We're at the Perkins and Siegen location. And as Nookie pointed out, with no Joel Davis here in hour number one this week, as JD is in the middle of Red Zone fundraising, not a lot of shorts, mostly sports with TK, Tommy Krysan filling in. That's good and bad, right? For those of you that enjoy abstract commentary and almost like you're on a roller coaster ride of ADD going on, then you're going to be a little disappointed in hour number one this week. But we hope to stick in with us. Craziness will be back with us next Saturday. And you know who already committed to being back with us next Saturday, Tom?
Who might that be?
The Buzz. Buzz will be here. So we have a full house next week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Four headsets.
Well,
no, you'll be there.
I'll
You won't be
away
there.
from
That's right.
Ronnie's meat sale.
That's right.
Big
Yeah.
meat sale next Saturday. No, but I'll make a phone. I'm
There you
just joking, because you never know where he's going to come from.
You literally never
I mean,
know.
it could be, you say out of left field, no, he comes from 4 ballparks over.
Tommy Krysan joining us today over here at Calandros. We'll have Henry Hayes joining us next segment, our resident basketball expert. Henry will talk to us a little bit about what's going on with the USA Hoops. Of course, they win the gold medal, had to hang on by the hair of their chin, but they got it done, played good defense down the stretch. And we'll talk to him about what's going on in the NBA. These salaries, Tommy, I mean, God bless them. I mean, I'm not hating at all. I'm just, holy cow. I mean,
how much money the NBA is truly making, billions and billions.
Even with COVID, right? I mean, they went in the bubble in 2020. In 2021, they had a shortened season, limited capacity in just about every arena until towards the end there, until you got towards the end. And yet still the top players are getting these $40, $50 million a year contracts and it's guaranteed money.
Well, and that's credibility in the fact that it's the TV money piloting this whole thing. It ain't the butts in the seats at the arena, or you buy the hat, you buy the shirt, or the hoodie. That's not what's making the money. It's the TV contracts, and TV ratings have taken a beating in lots of ways. But
The money's still there, even though the ratings are down. I mean, if the ratings stay way down for an extended period of time, the next TV contract might not be as big. But man, it's like, get it while you can, guys. I'm out for players. I mean, if you're worth what somebody will pay you, and if they want to give you $40 million a year, take it.
I wouldn't be paying you if they were losing money. I can
Correct.
that. And
We'll talk to Henry Hayes plenty about the economics of going on with NBA, as well as how it's going to affect the Pelicans, because right now the Pelicans are relevant because they have a guy named Zion Williamson. Win or lose, they're relevant in the national market, in the local market. People care somewhat because of Zion Williamson, but you may only have him 2 more years, this coming year and the year after.
Does the Zion Williamson thing, right? Does this seem like a rerun of the Anthony Davis thing?
It's a rerun of the Chris Paul thing.
The first pick, and
Yeah.
you got the big guy, and
Yeah.
comes out of Kentucky, and then all of a sudden it's going to be a new thing, and then all of a sudden it's just the window closed and he's gone.
Well, you have no.
Paul too.
Yeah.
So I mean, hey, I see the same movies. Zion's going to be gone in 2 years, 3 years, whatever he can leave, and then the Pelicans are the Pelicans.
Yeah. I mean, look, he's going to be 22, 23 years old when his contract's up, and we're hitting the prime of his career, and he's going to be, thanks for training me, and thanks for teaching me how to be a pro and getting the ball rolling. But now I'm going to go play for the next 10 years somewhere else and win championships. The problem, Tommy, is that unlike the NFL, where you have this system in place to where you can go from worst to first. There's a competitive balance that's so even for the most part. I mean, I know the records don't show that, but if you win the Super Bowl, it's almost like, okay, enjoy it, because you might not win another one unless it's an extreme circumstance like with Tom Brady, who has this magical power to get people to take less money because they just want to win. But the bottom line is that the NBA is such that people just don't want to come to New Orleans. I mean, they don't want to live there. They don't want to, as a free agent, they have no desire to come there. It's a small market. It's the city itself doesn't stack up next to other cities around the country where they have options to be, tax bracket wise and everything else. In addition, there's just, hey, if I got that choice, I'm going somewhere else. And you're not going to ever change that unless you just happen to get some magical human being like a Tom Brady who has that power to look you in the eyes and you melt and go, okay.
Well, I wanted to bring this up too. I don't know if you saw this, but we talked about this after the NBA draft. The guys got to work on Garrett Temple or something.
Yeah, he's in a trade.
He got a mansion not far from where we're at here at Calandros on Perkins. His big house is the crow fly is not far at all. And he's gonna, he's bounced around. He's made a lot of money, and now he's a member of the Pelicans. It would be good to have Garrett Temple, Baton Rouge guy, LSU guy, gonna wear the Pelicans uniform. I like him.
Yeah, no, it's outstanding for him. I'm happy for him. Happy for LSU fans, and man, it just, Tyrus Thomas, who I get to see because he helps coach at Liberty High School here in Baton Rouge, and has been doing that for like 5 years as an assistant, and he's putting on a big basketball tournament this in December that we'll be covering. Tyrus Thomas, big baby Glenn Davis, right? I mean, one of those two were the guy that was supposed to still be playing in 2021.
Yeah.
Instead, it's Garrett Temple, who has at least 3 more years left to go.
He played for a while.
Like at least 3.
He
Right.
committed to being a defensive guy.
It's incredible. I mean, props to him, and it shows you that if you stay your lane and you have a niche and you become the best at it. And what's interesting is this past offseason, we heard Garrett Temple's name a lot when it came to trades and possible trades and fits and all that because of his leadership skills and the defense that he's willing to play in a league where not a lot of people want to play defense.
And the bottom line, Garrett's a great guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great guy, which when you're one of them guys that bounces around the league and you might get cut, you might be named in a trade, or you're a good guy, there's like that hidden respect for you in the league, NBA front offices, league-wide. And Garrett Temple's a great guy, and, what a career. You're exactly right. Who thought he'd be the guy off that team still playing and making millions on top of millions. So happy for him. And,
he's the kind of guy, Ronnie, I mean, when he's done playing basketball, he's going to do a lot to help the Baton Rouge community and the state of Louisiana. So, yeah. So, I mean, they're going to be doing good things for people, mainly kids, and that's what we need.
We'll talk some LSU football after the next
Segment. We've got Henry Hayes that'll be coming up in a few minutes to talk NBA, USA, Olympic basketball, and all that sort of thing, and the economics and with Pelicans. But we will have Derry Beckwith, former college national champion and NFL linebacker. He'll join us at about 11:30. We'll talk to Derry about LSU coming up and the upcoming season, and of course day one under the belt. And we didn't learn a whole lot, but Tommy will have some reaction to the Coach O press conference and all that. So we'll get into that a little bit later on after this next segment. A couple minutes before we go to break, TK, and with the Olympics, nobody's really said this, and of course CBS, NBC, has done a great job, and they always do on the coverage. And by the way, we got the Winter Olympics next year coming up. And then Paris in 24. How much money do you think Japan is losing? I mean, they showed the infrastructure, which is as great an infrastructure as there's ever been for the Olympics. We know how much Russia lost when they hosted it a few years ago. And we've seen, you get to see pictures of Olympic villages and Olympic facilities, decades later online, and just how they're overgrown and there's weeds everywhere. And it's sad, right? But now with Tokyo and Japan, they are taking a bath with all the money that they have spent and no revenue coming in.
And they lost more if they built a softball field. But anyway, but no, you're right, Ronnie. Because the other thing, when you host the Olympics, you put yourself on the world stage.
Right.
Maybe you get people to come see.
You're going to lose money. It's just a
but
matter of
you want, maybe in 20 years, your tourism goes way up.
Right.
But in today's world, the pandemic and blah blah blah.
I mean, I don't know anybody saying, hey, man, maybe next summer we'll go to Tokyo, check it out. That's not happening. So, no, they're taking a bath. Now, it's Paris, France in 3 years, 2024, and then Los Angeles in 2028 when you're going to watch the baseball at Chavez Ravine.
Yeah, I definitely will be there for something. The 2022 Winter Olympics
Where's it at?
is in China.
Really? No, that's going to get postponed.
It's in Beijing.
It's going to get postponed.
Beijing is scheduled February 4th to 20th.
If they've had COVID problems in Tokyo, they're going to have them in Beijing.
You know,
I've never been to Beijing. Have you?
I've never been to China. The thing that I'll say, Tommy,
Is I wonder if the Olympics will go the way of the World's Fair. Remember how giant the World's Fair was forever, and it was literally all over the world. It was 1884. Yeah, it was a giant deal to get the World's Fair. Going back to the late 1800s, for about 100 years, right? It was a giant deal, the World's Fair, and it went away. I mean, it didn't make economic sense. The city of New Orleans, the state of Louisiana, took a bath on the World's Fair in 1984. There might have been another one or two after that, and that was it.
Well,
And you wonder if the Olympics is going to either go away or morph drastically into something that we don't recognize like it is now. Because financially, and if COVID continues to hamper, like, I mean, if COVID isn't, it's going to be this strain. And if it becomes a world pandemic and stays that way for a number of years and hampers travel and hampers restrictions, I mean, countries aren't going to keep doing what Tokyo just did, which is they lost billions of dollars. Billions.
I agree 100% with you. It's going to morph into something or go away. We have the World's Fair and the Olympics on our park. We don't need to go to
Right.
Tokyo.
Yeah, you can watch anything anywhere in the world. Right.
That was the cat when I was a kid. I
Right.
saw sports I've never heard of. Like you said, I heard of countries I never knew.
Right.
193 countries I don't know of. And so, it's I agree with you. It's headed that way. I agree with that. How fast, I'm not sure, but
Or you know what? Or the Olympics may just become, something that, like, say you come to the United States and instead of it all being in Louisiana, Los Angeles, for example, maybe it's truly all over the country to where fencing goes to New York where they already have fencing facilities, or, softball goes to Oklahoma City where they already have facilities and stadiums. You know what I mean? As opposed to building things that are going to get used once, a few times, maybe not in the future. I mean, like the finances of just throwing the money around like it's nothing and not getting any return, or the prospect of hardly getting any return, I think might change the landscape of the Olympics moving forward. He's Tommy Krysan. I'm Ronnie Rantz. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more Sports Shorts Radio live from Calandros Supermarket in Baton Rouge. We're at the Perkins and Siegen location. Don't forget, if you're over in Mid-City, stop on by Calandros on Government Street, right across from Woodenhaven Furniture Company, and right next to Curbside Burgers and all that, right in the heart of Mid-City. So Calandros Supermarket, 80 years in business. Nobody does it better in the capital city. We'll be back with Henry Hayes, our resident basketball expert, to talk USA, gold medal, NBA, Pelicans, and more. Don't go anywhere. Look at this, Tommy. You, Kevin, get that out of our ear, the commercial. Thank you. Look, he's saying, Baron Davis, Chris Paul, AD, Zion, same chapter, different verse when it comes to the.
that's documented fact.
I mean, it's not going to be any different. They're going to get to the last year. You'll either trade them before the last year or trade them in the middle of the season. You probably will trade them in the middle of the season so that you keep ticket sales going a little bit. And then you'll just take the best of whatever you can get. What's happening, fellas? I saw Kevin Falk already getting after them boys at practice.
Cool, I saw that.
So Kevin Falk was yelling at the football players. I didn't see that.
I was doing a little cone drill thing. They were like making an X around these cones. They were trying to get them cut it a little harder. And this one dude, 22. Is that Price? Anyway,
Let me look it up. I thought Price was 3.
Whoever 22 is, he stopped. And Falk's like, "What are you gonna do? Stop during the game? Go!" I mean, it was kind of cool to see. I forget who posted it, but I was watching it, some of that while I was waiting for Coach O to speak last night. Just the Zoom conference. 22, whatever that is. Get that little grid. No, right out. How you get the point.
22 would be Armani Goodwin, yeah.
Yeah, ball jump. Yeah, if you hit that other, it will be. See how coach you up?
There you go. Tell you a little bit about Amani Goodwin, according to Matthew Bonnet. But Matthew's his brother. That's right.
He doesn't make it.
Yeah, I've been dealing with him he does our Hall of Fame program. That's why I do it. Compact runner with breakaway speed, 4-star prospect by all the recruiting services, considered the top running back in the state of Alabama and number 4 nationally by rivals. The number 4 player in the state of Alabama and number 78 nationally, according to 247 Sports. Selected to the Alabama. Shouldn't that download volume-wise? Selected to the Alabama All-State team by Max Preps after rushing for nearly 1,800 yards and 18 touchdowns as a senior. Rushed for 14, 58, and 15 as a junior. Had 10 touchdowns. Cut short by her injury. Sophomore year had 1,400 yards. Junior year, 10 touchdowns, cut short due to injury. Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Shorts Radio, presented by LeBear's Casino. Lots of great stuff going on at LeBear's Casino. Concerts galore this fall. Football season, it's going to be the place to go before or after LSU football home games. I mean, or even in road games, you can go watch them in the Stadium Sports Bar and Grill. TK, Tommy Krysan, and I over here at Calandros in Baton Rouge on Perkins and Siegen. Joining us right now, let's go to Henry Hayes, our resident basketball expert, who joins us by phone here on Sports Shorts. Henry, how are you, sir? So, online here on Sports Shorts, if you go to our Facebook page, Sports Shorts, and like it, get subscribed to it. It's you can also go on YouTube, Sports Shorts, hosted by Ronnie Rantz. Give us a follow. Even Nookie says his quote, Eduardo Perez is the absolute worst. I want to drive an ice pick in my ears during the College World Series. So I guess because I know him a little bit. He's such a nice guy, he doesn't bother me as much. I think there's people better, but at the same time, I'm surprised that you guys think he's that bad. Yeah. By the way, if you're a fan of Marucci here in Baton Rouge, shout out Eduardo Perez, because he was one of the original investors that helped put up some money when they needed it to get the ball rolling back in the day, when they needed to get that laser lathe that, they put the wood billet in and it all of a sudden, zzz, cuts out a bat in that perfect form and the way, the model exactly you want. Eduardo Perez was initially one of the guys who got involved with that because Jack Marucci was the trainer at Florida State when Eduardo Perez was there and played baseball. They had a relationship, and at that time, Eduardo was in the big leagues and invested, and of course, got a nice return on his investment. But that said, little did you know there. Henry, did you watch the Olympics, the finals last night? Mm-hmm. Why were they missing so many free throws? Is it the ball? Is it the color of the ball? I mean, what is it? Okay. Just in general, but I mean, but down the stretch, the United States made it interesting by missing some free throws. Yeah, period. Mm-hmm. How is it different? Do you know? Okay. Right. That's interesting. You say that, talking about the pressure of the Olympics and everything, and how you noticed that Booker got a little tight. And I imagine, with a young player like that, right? He's looking around, he's seeing all these veterans. You see a Kevin Durant, you go, here, you take it, big fella, you deserve it. It's, it's your third Olympic, you're going for your third gold medal. But at the same time, it's interesting that with no fans in the stands, you're telling me, Henry Hayes, that they still feel that pressure, even coming off of an NBA Finals where it's packed and you got, cities and states going up against each other. And I mean, you would think that pressure is every bit as great as playing France with no fans. Yeah, right. You have to win. There's no. No, I did, which is explain that rule. That's a crazy rule. Yeah, it's live. Yeah. 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 And it's different because they went over and did what they did, right? I mean, that definitely was the genesis of just the giant, massive spotlight around the world, where people knew, okay, well, that's the bar. That's what we got to do to keep up. If the United States had sent over the team they could have put together, what would the starting five have looked like in your opinion? Versus what it ended up being. What could it have been had the best players from the United States decided they wanted to play? Yeah. AD. Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm assuming no. Here's the thing. Right now, like what they could have put together this summer, because I mean, health is a factor for some of those guys this summer. So what they could have had if they chose to play would have been Curry, LeBron, who else? Durant. Mm-hmm. You put Booker. You put Booker in there. Not okay. Chris Paul. Yeah. Right. but for sure Durant, LeBron, and Curry. Uh-huh. Zion Williamson, is he on your roster coming off the bench? If you're Greg Popovich and you could have had him?